honestly, I feel people in government want to bring about change. And if someone from outside is only going to be criticizing them, then you can't be their partner also.
One of the observations, at least I have had over the last decade, is that not everyone outside of the government is good in engaging with the government or are effective in engaging with the government. And that's not a common kind of skill in that sense. You are somebody who has done that really well through the CSF work and through now the TCF. What have been your learnings? How do you engage effectively with the government as a entity which is outside working in the impact space?
Yeah, I think firstly we have to recognize that government is the big actor in this space. I mean, in education, government spends this year almost 7 lakh crore on education. So whatever philanthropy NGOs spend is a drop in the bucket, right? I think philanthropy has a role, which is it can do a lot of innovation, new things. We've seen NGOs in India come up with new models of showing how literacy numeracy can be solved. It can build evidence. You can pay for the evidence building. You can come up with interesting working with government on policy solutions based on the evidence, and then support government with policy implementation. But really, to work with government, I think more than me, I think it's really the people who lead these organizations. We want to find people who have that partnership mentality, who recognize government is a big actor and are willing to, work in a manner that is conducive to working with government, which I think involves a few things. Firstly, that you recognize that government is a big actor. Two is that you take no credit. I mean, really, it is government who is the big actor. They are the ones driving it, and you're playing a backroom, backseat role, a support role in the equation. Third is, even if one finds gaps, which there often are in implementation, it is to be shared with the key actors. It is not to be taken outside. Our job is never to criticize government. Because somebody else can do that.
You're not media.
I think in our role, it is a positive role because we are working with change agents who actually want things to improve. So as opposed to writing op-eds about what isn't working, our focus instead is on having an honest discussion with people, saying, look, here are the improvement areas, and here's what we can do to work with you, or here's what a partner can do to work with you. And I think that makes it a very positive, because honestly, I feel people in government want to bring about change. And if someone from outside is only going to be criticizing them, then you can't be their partner also. If you're going to be their partner, then act like a partner. But act more like a silent partner, because you are the silent partner, they are the big actor.
So the other extreme also is something that's sometimes observed, right? You get too subservient. So this is one extreme that you're talking about. The other extreme is that you're not speaking up enough. You're not kind of sharing evidence, sharing data. You kind of become almost a yes man to what's happening, and that's something again that's detrimental to the overall outcome. So have you seen that also, and how does one not do that? Because can tend to be the normal tendency.
Yeah. And of course, I think for many of our organizations that work with government, you have to respond to the needs of government. You have to be willing to do certain things that you may deem to be menial, right? But it's part of the game. I think I apply like a 80-20 rule at the end of the day. At the end of the day, if you can still keep 80% of the energy, that's what I tell people, focused on what are the important priorities and pushing the ball forward, 20% one will always have to be reactive to what's happening. Maybe early on in the relationship, it's more 60-40, and you have to earn the trust to move it to 80-20. I have personally found that if the concerned actor feels that you're providing a good supporting role, they even ask for new ideas. You have the chance to even share, as opposed to just doing implementation, ideas around what could make it better. And most state governments, most people are actually very receptive because they're in the mode of actually showing results.
No, I completely am with you when it comes to working with the government. I remember when we were starting Samagra 10 years back, we had made a conscious choice that all the work that we'll do, we will be with the system, will be with the government. It was coming from the fact that the core belief is that if needle has to move for the country, everything that you do has to be at scale. The impact has to be at scale. And if scale is an imperative, then government becomes an imperative, because government has the maximum reach, government has the mandate, government has the resources, as you were saying, and you cannot wish away the governance process. You have to kind of engage with the government and make things happen. The good part is at the time while the narrative was not this, a lot of NGOs that you were saying were very happy doing their own thing in a smaller scale, really having deep impact, but not really engaging as much with the government. But if you talk about today and where you go, I think it's now accepted this thing that it's critical to kind of work with the government to really move.
Absolutely. And Gaurav, apart from scale, it's also sustainability.
Yeah.
You know, no NGO can sustain anything. If something has to be sustained, it has to be embedded in the system, owned by the system, run by the system. So that is the only way to ensure sustainability also. And I think what Samagra has done, what some of the institutions we support are really doing differently than what was done earlier, I believe is that translational muscle. You know, there are good solutions in India on the ground or in other places. It's really finding ways when government has the political will to do something, which it does in many areas, to be supportive by bringing these innovations, but figuring out how they will get embedded in a systemic manner.